Ken, have you ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I have not.
Okay, I have been. It's amazing.
I remember you telling me about that, Will.
It's like going to Mecca, man. Mecca for rock and roll fans like you and me. Serious, man. So many guitars, so much history. The museum itself is amazing. But I got a problem with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, what's your problem with it?
Well, one, Depeche Mode's in it, but that's another story. Okay, that's for another podcast. But two, Tommy James is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Shut your mouth.
No, I'm dead serious. Now look, Tommy James
is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
In any form or fashion.
Well, okay. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Look, this man
Bring it.
is one of the most popular artists of the 1960s. But here's the thing about Tommy James that's crazy, man. This guy as a hit maker, top 10 hit after top 10 hit. Hanky Panky, #1 on the charts. Moni Moni, top 10. Later, 20 plus years later, #1 for Billy Idol. I Think We're Alone Now, top 10 on the charts. Later, #1 for Tiffany, over 20 years later.
Oh, which was also re-released this year. Billy Joe Armstrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Random. But still,
It's
stay in power. Stay in power.
Number 2 single, Crystal Blue Persuasion, been played in movies and
Yep.
TV shows galore. Dragging the Line, when he was a solo artist, top 10 hit. In the early 70s, wrote a song called Tighter, Tighter for a one-hit wonder called Alive and Kickin'.
Yep.
And then he had this song, the song we're talking about today, a #1 song that sold over 5 million records, that has stood the test of time because just shortly before he died, about 6-7 years before he died, Prince covered this song and released it as a single.
So you're telling me that a man...
Oh, we didn't even get to the song's name yet.
Yeah.
But no.
Because I'm still tripping on this, man. I'm still tripping. You're telling me that a man, as you've read this list of songs,
Hit after hit after hit, not just for him, but hits that then become hits for other people because they stand the test of time.
So let me say, you have given a list of songs that my kids, my teenage kids, have heard some of these songs.
Covered by somebody.
Yes, exactly. So you're telling me that songs that have definitely seen decades, the test of time, by an artist who was cranking these songs out and he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Balderdash. That is wrong.
Dude, I'm telling you. And the song we're talking about today is his biggest hit, sold 5 million records, Crimson and Clover, which, oh, by the way, then became a top 10 hit #7 for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Yes. Say
like
that
in
one
1980, 81.
Joan Jett.
Joan
Okay.
Jett.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to do I Love Rock and Roll.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that album, not just the single, the album.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this song all over. We're just going to clip out what we talked about with Tommy James, insert it, and then just voice over Joan Jett into Tommy James the whole time. Anyway, no, we're not. But seriously, man, I've been on this crusade for a while because I love 60s music, the oldies. You know that I've been knee deep in that for my entire adult life.
Yeah, true.
As long as you and I have been friends and been talking about music, hey Ken, listen to this song from 1968. Hey Ken, listen to this song from 1966. Hey Ken, this is a song by the Supremes. And then when you're about to hit me, say, man, I know who the Supremes are, dummy. I'm like, oh, okay. Dude, I've been listening to Tommy James and his anthology. I've listened to his albums probably since around 1991. Well over 20 years after Tommy James and the Shondells ceased to exist.
Yeah.
Because I was discovering all these oldies that were around when I wasn't even born yet.
See, I knew who he was as a kid, or let me rephrase that. I discovered who he was from the Joan Jett cover. Because that was the first.
Well, I heard her version before I remember hearing his version.
Yeah, and so I heard her version, and then I was like, wow, I like this. And my, parents or siblings, oh yeah, that's Tommy James Shondells. Who? Because when you're little, the concept of a cover, of someone remaking a song, because you're a little kid, so everything is new.
At least for your first exposure when you're not studying the liner notes, like we're prone to do.
Yeah,
right?
now. But
Yeah,
you know,
because
in
I had
1981,
Joan Jett's "I Love Rock and Roll" cassette, listening to both sides, man. I mean, I had the cassette. Well, actually, I just borrowed my sister's cassette. That's besides the point.
So yeah, that was my first exposure, and then Tommy
Right.
James, and learned about Moni Moni and Think We're Alone Now.
Yeah,
And so
Hanky Panky.
I was not a complete stranger to Tommy James, but right now, when you mentioned that he is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, let me tell y'all something. We discuss and prepare for these shows ahead of time, but when Will made that statement right now, he dropped that on me. I'd never heard that before.
You just assume.
Yeah, you just assume that someone who's cranking out hits like this, making such an impact in the world of music.
It would be one thing, because there are a lot of bands that sold millions of records who aren't in the Hall of Fame because they were too bubblegum. And maybe that's the problem, is that he had a lot of bubblegum hits, but they're hits for multiple artists over multiple decades.
Yeah, so, okay, I could buy that, but again, and Think We're Alone Now, because like I told you, that's going to be my karaoke song when we're in our 80s. Yeah, I'll be singing that.
Hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. Only you're making it to 80, man. I'm not making it to 80.
But the point is, 3 different generations. He did it. We had Tiffany singing it. And like I said, this year, the Green Day boy released this song.
Dude,
that one song that Tommy James
Think about
written.
that. Crimson and Clover, 1968.
81.
Joan Jett,
And
2009.
2009.
Prince. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Timeless songs.
Exactly.
Even if you don't want to put the Shondells, because I could not name another Shondell.
Okay.
Yeah. Why isn't Tommy James in at the very least, in as a songwriter?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. And I'm not rambling because my focus is clear. I'm ranting.
Yes, straight rant. And I'm on board, man.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
But having said that, when times become normal again, go visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it is well worth your time. As an institution and a museum, it's awesome. But we'll talk about inductions another day.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get to this song, man. Tommy James. Here's another thing that you may not have known about Tommy James. His records and his record label were funded by the mob, the mafia.
Yeah.
And I read his book. He actually released a book in the last few years about his time. I think the record label was Roulette. That's just off the top of my
Roulette
head.
Records.
Okay. And it talked about him navigating the waters between trying to be a hit maker, but also trying to not get shot or piss off the wrong person,
It's interesting because we have the luxury of looking back in history. That was a thing in the 60s, where mob enforcers, music industry. It's crazy because it was rock and roll. You had it in the other crooner music, Sinatra.
Of course.
Yeah. Zeppelin, man. Peter Grant was a leg breaker.
Right.
You're
right. But for me, that's just candy, right? Because ultimately, if your songs aren't interesting, one, you and I aren't going to be talking about them.
True.
But two, they would not be as huge of hits as they are. Ken, you dropped a stat on me. Over 300 artists have covered Tommy James's songs.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's impact. And so let's look at the music for this one. So if you ever listen to Crimson and Clover, there are 2 versions. There's the single version, which everybody knows, and there's the album version. And we're going to talk a little bit about both. But both versions open up with one little phrase, ah. And once you hear that ah, you know it instantly. And the only thing you're waiting is for that little catchy guitar hook to drop.
Tremolo guitar.
Right? And then after that, the song builds and builds and builds until you hit this full psychedelic breakdown with the organ, the guitar, the crazy studio instruments just blowing up. Okay? And there's even a part in the song where they even drop like a little solo bass hook.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, they don't do that often. Not in 1968 when you're trying to play songs on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay. And then right after that little bass hook, there's like a little funky guitar, man. You're like, wait, these dudes have been listening to Sly and the Family Stone. Because, I think Tommy James said, this is what's popular out there. Psychedelia, sound effects in the studio, a little bit of Sly Stone funk, and I'm throwing it all onto this record. Oh, and because I'm the master of catchy pop songs, you're going to sing along to it.
And I could buy that, because we do know that the band and Tommy, they wanted to change their sound. And what better way to change your sound than with this? I love the way you throw in the Sly Stone, Sly and the Family
but
Stone.
it is. It's funky, man.
Yeah.
It's like...
And they were making an impact. I mean, they put everyone on their ear when they came out during this period of time. So yeah, not a far fetch.
And Ken, there's a sound in the refrain at the end, Crimson and Clover, over and over, which sounds like my man's underwater. And I know that this has been done many times. What's that effect that's causing that change in his voice? It's like a psychedelic staple.
Oh yeah, on his voice. So what they did, they ran his mic through a guitar amp.
Okay.
Probably like an Ampeg guitar amp back then in the '60s, because they would have the tremolo effect built into the amplifier. So
okay,
have them sing through the guitar amp, crank up the tremolo effect, and there you go. I am underwater.
Okay, that's crazy, man. But that's not the only effect on this song. So I told you there was a single version and an album version. And the album version is 2.5 minutes longer than the single version. The single version cuts out my personal favorite part of the song, which is like this long guitar solo. So the first part of the guitar solo kind of sounds like Santo and Johnny Sleepwalk.
Yeah.
What's causing that sound?
The slide guitar going on, which you hear in Santo and Johnny.
Slide or steel? Because I always get the two confused.
Steel.
Steel guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. The slide is like when you put that Coke bottle on your...
the bottleneck on the...
Okay. So I'm serious, man, because like I'm ignorant to this stuff. So I want to make sure, oh no, that's a steel guitar effect. But do you use them interchangeably, slide and steel, or no?
No. Slide guitar, like you see a lot of country guys, where it's on the lap steel. You hear it called lap steel.
So that's steel, not slide, because you just said slide again.
Because they're sliding to get to the notes.
But it's a steel guitar.
Lap steel. Yeah.
Okay. You understand why I'm confused here, right? I'm not busting your balls here, man. Like, I'm honestly confused the difference between the two.
You get a slide sound through both of them. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Like when I play Sleepwalk,
yes.
I don't know how to play a lap steel. I put the bottleneck and I play it on guitar, just on regular guitar.
Okay. And I'm sure you're probably tired of playing that in your cover bands too. Anyway, but then after that little Sleepwalk portion, then you go into this extended late 60s jam session psychedelic guitar freak out, and I love it because they're freaking out, they're going psychedelic on me, but they're playing to the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not overtaking the song. It's not taking me out of the song. I'm still feeling peace, love, and happiness. And I'm in that chill vibe without taking any illegal drugs. But I'm just saying I'm in that chill vibe before that final freak out, right before that refrain where it just stops. Crimson and Clover, over and over. And then everybody's singing along.
Yep.
Because that's what Tommy James does. He makes you want to sing along.
Yeah. Because there's strength in that. Like we've said on the program before.
So many songs.
Yeah. And he realized, hey, this is how you hook the people. I do find it interesting, the album version, how it extended from the single version, result of radio stations and DJs telling them that the single version was too short, that needed to be longer.
Interesting.
That is interesting, considering that this was the time, the era, where the standard of the 3.5 minute pop song is established. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is very interesting that they received that feedback.
I had no idea, man. Did you get that off Wikipedia?
Hell, of course.
Okay, I didn't read that, man. But lyrically, this song is about as simple as it gets. This is not a song you read to find the deeper hidden meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, and he said that the song came about because crimson was his favorite color and the clover was his favorite flower. I think his favorite flower was pot, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
His favorite weed, his favorite green was pot. Because, dude, when you hear this song, and you know it's a love song and it's that era of flower power, you expect it to be a little deeper than this. And then you realize, no, it's just about him, having a crush on a chick, and that's it. And then you sing Crimson and Clover, which absolutely has nothing to do with him having a crush on a girl. He's just singing the song, the words. It's almost a nothing song, man.
Yeah.
Right? Which is okay, man. Look, not every song has to have a deeper meaning or have to be overanalyzed to death. What about this, though, man? Do you think, dude, our idols aren't getting any younger, Ken. This guy has to be in his 70s now.
Oh, absolutely.
Creeping up on 80. I don't know if he'll ever make the Hall of Fame. I don't even think I've seen him on the ballot, man. And I think it's because the people who run the Hall have such a disdain for bubblegum pop or even just popular artists. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just those artists, even if they're big, if they're not critically acclaimed favorites, they usually don't get the respect, man. Dude, how many countries was this song a number one hit in?
Man, now this is crazy. Number one in Canada, Germany, New Zealand, Singapore, South Africa, and Switzerland. Or along with that, I should say. Now that's crazy in itself. But it also charted in, I'm about to sound like
it's okay.
The
Keep
Animaniacs character, name of the countries. Austria, Brazil, France, Holland, Italy, Israel, Malaysia, Mexico, Philippines, and Puerto Rico.
Huh.
Now, the crazy thing, despite all that, song never charted in the UK.
I can't believe that.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Actually,
this song...
Why?
This song screams, hi, I belong in the UK.
This song screams, I belong in every country.
At this period of time in the late 60s, how did this song not chart in the UK?
And you know what, man? Tommy James did not have a very successful UK career. He wasn't popular there the way he was in the US. And maybe they just didn't get his brand of pop music.
That is interesting.
But what can you do? Anyway, man, there's no reason to ask you if it stands test of time because his songs stand the test of time.
Yes.
Period.
That's crazy because, again, everyone who hears this can name a Tommy James song. There's no one that we know who will not recognize one of those song titles.
One of them.
At least one of them. And guess what? If you went to public school and maybe even a private school, other than homeschooling, if you went to school with other kids and had school dances, at some point
between the 60s and 90s,
you heard
4 decades.
Yeah. Moni. Oh, even now, my kids' middle school dance.
Yeah.
Moni still gets played.
I think we're alone now.
Still gets played.
Top 10. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Having said that, I hope y'all enjoyed going down memory lane with us. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to hear more shows, hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. And leave your comments. One, who do you think should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that isn't in there? And two, let us know what you think about the song. What's your favorite version of this song?
Yes. And if you have any knowledge about Tommy James, or if you know Tommy James, or Tommy, if you're listening, someone give us a shout out, drop knowledge on us because we love to learn.
Anyway, all right, Ken, we're going to wrap this up. I hope everyone has a great time. Bye-bye.
Peace.